What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Chosen One. I'm here today to go over Haarp and what this program is all about and why it was created. Haarp stands for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. Now, it's funny they say High Frequency Active Auroral because one thing we remember about Aurora is the Aurora Batman shooting July 20th of 2012 in Aurora, Colorado. And what people don't understand is James Holmes was actually being controlled through radio frequency waves that tapped into his MK Ultra chip via satellite. And if you think it's BS, there's an Illuminati card called Orbital Mind Control Lasers. Okay, there's an Illuminati card, came out in 1982. CIA took it off the shelves. One of the cards says Orbiting Mind Control Lasers. And that is exactly how they got James Holmes to kill 12 people in an Aurora movie theater. And that is very deep. So like I was saying, this Haarp program, I believe it started in the late 60s or the early 70s. You know, you can correct me if I'm wrong. What the Haarp program is doing is they're sending charged ions and charged particles, kind of like what my bro Sanchez said about CERN. They're sending charged particles in the atmosphere to basically to heat up the atmosphere. They're shooting charged particles to heat up the atmosphere. And when the particles move faster, you get warmer weather. And when the weather and the wind is warmer, it's more easy to manipulate people. So what they're doing is tornadoes, hurricanes, and cyclones happen on this planet naturally. What the Haarp base is doing is it's heating up the ions and giving them a positive charge to heat them up. And the winds are easily more able to manipulate so they can cause bigger storms, bigger tornadoes, bigger hurricanes, bigger tsunamis and cyclones, and actually move the wind directions where they want it to, people. And this has been going on, from my perspective, the last 20-25 years. We can start that out with the giant tidal wave in India in December of 2004 that killed about 300,000 innocent people. Okay, they said that there was an earthquake that caused the tremor to cause the plate tectonics, okay, to cause a piece of the earth to come up and the other piece to come down under it, which caused a giant layer of ocean water to go over the shore and to hit the land of India. Okay, it's very deep, and actually that didn't happen. They actually dropped a nuclear weapon under the ground to cause this earthquake, which caused the giant tsunami 2004 December off the shores of India. And it's very sad and it's very deep. And even when you look at what happened with the Haiti earthquake in 2010, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, they found excessive amounts of radiation in the Caribbean Ocean and in the northern part of the South American Ocean, which is called the Gulf of Mexico. There's excessive amounts of radiation coming out of the world oceans. And all of these earthquakes seem to be getting bigger, 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 and bigger. And what is happening, people, is the United States Navy, along with the Haarp program, they are activating underwater nuclear weapons to target specific areas of the planet. Why is it always happening somewhere that's near the shoreline? People, we have to start asking these questions, man, because like I said, this is really deep information, and I actually have something that could back this up. Why in the hell are all these dead animals coming up on the seashores, people? Because the radiation from the nuclear weapons dropped by our government is killing the animals, people. They are dropping underwater nuclear weapons as we speak and lying in the media saying that they're natural earthquakes. After the earthquake and tsunami, you had Hurricane Katrina, and that's really deep because when you look at that etymology and you look at the K-A, which is the Katrina, okay, that is really deep. Just like my brother here, Bro Sanchez, said, Chicago, that etymology is very deep. And two things that are happening in the Chicago area and what happened in the New Orleans area, that's basically pandemonium with melanated people, and that is what they are attacking with that energy, with the chi energy, with the ka energy, okay? They're attacking the Merkaba. That's what they're attacking. Your electromagnetic aura field with the poisons they're putting in the atmosphere and in the waters. But so let's delve into what went on with this Hurricane Katrina incident. It was August 25th of 2005, and about, I say, a week to 10 days before Katrina came to America, it was nothing but a tropical storm going over Florida. Florida, and they were expecting it to die out in the Gulf of Mexico. So it ends up going over Florida as a tropical storm. About a day and a half later, it goes over the whole state of Florida, and it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. And when it hits the Gulf of Mexico, it starts to heat up. The temperature starts to change, and the tropical storm starts to reach hurricane category 1 status. Then it gets closer to the coastline of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, and it gets even hotter, and it jumps up to a category 2 hurricane in less than a day, people. It jumped from tropical storm to category 2 in 1 day. That has never been done before in the history of humanity. And a day after that, when it was going closer towards the coast of Louisiana, it jumped from category 2 to category 4 in another 1 day span. So in 2 days of going over land, you would think that the winds would die out when it went over the land. But as soon as it got back over the heated up water and the heated up atmosphere again, it went from a tropical storm all the way to a category 4 hurricane in 2 days. Never been done before in the history of humanity on this planet. And right before it hit land, okay, and on August 25th, it went up to a category 5 hurricane with winds that were going a little bit over 200 miles per damn hour, okay? So that in itself draws its own questioning and just to be looked at differently. So when you look at the events that happened on this date, or even the week leading up to this, George Bush, about 2 or 3 days before the storm hit landfall, George Bush got on national television and declared a state of national emergency for the people living in New Orleans and the 9th Ward. When this was happening, the governor, I'm not sure if his last name was Christie, it was a black governor of Louisiana at the time, and he even got on a national TV, told the people to evacuate immediately. And they even had buses reserved for people to leave out and to flee north and to go west into Texas and into the Texas area. So when this storm hits, not only does it bring tremendous amounts of rainfall and wind that knock down certain structures and certain buildings and people's houses, when it actually made landfall, it died down into a category 3.5 to 4. But people in the 9th Ward stated hearing explosions that went off in the levees in the 9th Ward, okay, that were holding back Lake Pontchartrain. The levees in the 9th Ward were built up to hold back the Lake Pontchartrain, which was nothing but water that was coming in from the Mississippi River. So when they hear these explosions, these people say flooding starts hitting the New Orleans city and the 9th Ward within a 2-hour span, people. Within about an hour to 90 minutes, the water level in New Orleans hit about anywhere from 6 to 12 inches in 1 hour, people. And then from that point on, in about a 6-hour span, 6 hour to 12 hour span, we were looking at 3 feet of water, 3.5 feet of water that was over the 9th Ward sea level and was over the rest of the city of New Orleans. And it's funny because they're saying that the levees were meant to keep the people safe from flooding, but there's no proof that the levees were in terrible conditions before this incident happened, people. And nobody really wants to touch on that subject. But as far as I'm concerned, there was really no problems with the levee system before this sudden collapse right after Hurricane Katrina hit. Because before the hurricane hit the coastline, it went from a category 5 to a category 3.5. So from my perspective, the winds didn't really knock the levees down, people, and the levees did not overflow. If you look at what happened to the levees and the evidence coming from what happened, okay, there is proof that the levees exploded, people. And this happened because explosives were set outside of the levees, okay, and completely demolished them, completely broke them down. And it's really sad what happened on this date. From my understanding, anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 people lost their lives. People were trapped in their houses for 3 days to a week. People starved to death. People drowned to death. You saw dead bodies getting eaten by dogs and crocodiles. People saw their loved ones and their family members floating lifeless, dead. And to top it all off, the American government did not help it. George Bush did not help the situation anymore because the United States government took 3.5 days to bring water, food supplies, and survival material to the people who were suffering in New Orleans. Okay, it's really deep what went on with this incident. It's really sad. And people on news networks and broadcasting networks were actually referring to the African people in New Orleans as refugees and not citizens.